Hello and welcome to today's Just Chopsing Podcast and radio show. And today, joining us from the hot tub is David, and we have a couple of the nice ladies from Joanovarc. We have Shelley Walker and Kira Kenworthy. How are you doing, girls?
Doing all right, thank you.
Oh, Shelley was just going to go for a cough.
I was about to cough.
Yeah, you can cough. I don't mind. So, what have you been up to? I see you've got a new single out called Here I Go.
Yes, we have. It's really taken off really well, actually.
All right. So, how was the album received, actually? Because I had to listen to it the other night, and I thought it was quite sort of like proggy, if you like.
Yes, yeah. It's so far so good. Actually, a lot of people have said they really love it and enjoy the album. It's different from our other albums, and it is very proggy because me and Kira's influences are from the prog era a little bit as well as other genres. But yeah, it is a bit proggy. But that's Kira for you. That's the bassist that can play like a lead guitar player.
All right, okay. Because I was listening, and I was talking to David about it the other day actually, and I said it sounded a bit proggy. And there's one song on there that is a bit like the "Somewhere in Time" riff from Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what song I'm talking about? I can't remember which song it is off the top of my head, but
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. There's a few Iron Maiden-esque songs on there.
Yeah.
There's one in particular with a quite heavy riff that might actually be "Invisible Enemy."
Okay.
The actual title track of the album. When I played it to a few people, they said, "Yeah, I can hear the Maiden in it."
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I could definitely hear it in one of the tracks. So
yeah, there's also one that has a bit of an influence on Muse as well. I think that would be "Silver Sun," and we actually have a lyric video available on YouTube for people to check out as well. And the bass line that I did has a sort of synth quality that you might hear from a lot of the Muse bass lines.
All right.
It's very spacey and it's in the music.
Okay. I mean, have you gone down this direction intentionally, or because you've like had a couple of lineup changes in the last couple of years, I guess?
Yeah, I think me and Kira wanted to sort of experiment with the music and try out some different things that we love sort of listening to as well, the influences. And I think that's where it developed, and we really enjoyed making this album. It was very hard though, because it was over a 2-year period of lockdown.
Yeah,
so it wasn't easy.
Locked in and having to go back in studio again and then out again and then back in again. And so it was it was broken into like 4 sessions, but it wasn't easy to finish it.
Yeah.
Did you send each other stuff over like emails and what have you, or was it purely when you got together there?
Well, we had to meet at the recording studio and get together. We also rehearsed up some of the tracks we were going to be recordings. We did a lot of pre-production, but remember, if you're from Yorkshire and then someone else is from Bristol and the other one's from Hertfordshire, and you've got all these restrictions, they had county restrictions where you weren't allowed to go into another county. It was really incredibly hard to finish that album, because of the restrictions. But we did it, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, because we've spoken to quite a few people, actually, quite a few bands, and they also had, the same problems with COVID and stuff. And a few bands have tried writing remotely and getting together over Zoom or Skype. Yeah, you did that as well?
Yeah,
so we did that.
Some of the songwriting, so me and Shelley started songwriting during the lockdown, where we started emailing ideas and throwing demos across for potential songs that we wanted in the album. I wrote about... I did like probably more than 2 songs, but I think we picked 2 of them that really stood out. And basically I did like a drum machine, did the guitar parts, and then we just kind of added a bit more vocal and that together. And then what we would do when it was all right to start rehearsing. We would go all together in a rehearsal and start learning the songs and how we were going to do the structures of the songs. So some of the structures may have been reduced and may have had to be switched a bit, but yeah, most of it was me and Shelley going backwards and forwards with songwriting ideas.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, it must be tough, man, trying to get stuff done over Zoom and, emails
and rehearsing as well on Zoom as well, because there's a bit of a delay when you're trying to rehearse via Zoom, because it sounds like you're out of time because one person may be picking up your video, whereas it may be delayed on your end or it's delayed on their end. So it's always better to do it face to face.
And a lot of the tracks were inspired by actually being isolated and actually not being able to go out. And if one of us lived on our own, it was tough. That's the kind of thing. So it was a journey of those 2 years, really, that whole album.
That's cool. Did you think that while you were writing it, did you find it helped you as well because you were on your own at the time?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. The album to me is like therapy. It's like going through a real hard time emotionally as well. Like for me, I couldn't see my family for months on end because they live further up north. So it's very, very difficult. So a lot of that was therapy. And it's just way better making music than doing something else. It's just, that's all we could do, really. We didn't have a lot of options to do other things. So we just, cool. I know a lot of people that wallowed over the lockdown and they actually didn't. They just sort of stayed in and did nothing. But there's people that actually become very successful over lockdown because they use their imagination and what can I do being indoors and how can I, connect with people in a different way.
Yeah, no, I basically stayed in and ate Pringles and sat in my pants for 7 months, pretty much. I definitely wallowed.
No, you didn't. We started this podcast.
I couldn't do that. I'm not like I like. It may be easy for some people just to sit and watch Netflix all day. I wish I could do that, but I'm just not this kind of person that can sit down. I like to move about and get stuff done. So one of the things I had to do was, I had, in order to kind of make a bit of money coming in, I became a cleaner at a homeless project during the lockdown, and I kept going out doing exercise and stuff just to keep myself doing stuff, and obviously continue playing bass, because to me, if I decided to just, I've got no gigs, what's the point in playing bass? I just couldn't imagine myself doing that. So I thought, well, just take the opportunity just to keep practicing and get better and better, and maybe think about writing songs while you're at it. You've got all this free time. It's not going to be forever, so yeah.
That's good.
And luckily, it wasn't forever, which is great.
Right. Yeah, so moving on to that then, when are you guys getting out on the road, or are you already out on the road? Have you got some gigs lined up?
Funny enough, we weren't going to tour this particular album, just because the band members we had left after lockdown. I think lockdown kind of shook a lot of people up, and they wanted to do different things with their lives and go off and to different countries and do this and that. So for me and Kira, we were sort of left on our own, and we just thought, you know what? We've got an album sitting there doing nothing. We may as well release it. And that's what we thought. We do our individual playing for different people. And you know what? Me and Kira do gigs together sometimes, but we may reunite in a different form with a whole new album, in a couple of years or whatever, But I just think we just wanted to get the music out, because for me it was, it's just sitting there, and I wanted people to hear what we've done over the last couple of years in lockdown.
Yeah. Well, there's no point hiding it away.
We also did a Patreon page as well, and because things changed after we did release the album and people kind of went their separate ways, we still needed to oblige to the patrons who paid a monthly fee to see us
to support
record the album and support the album, and we didn't want to leave them behind. So we definitely thought, well, we want to release this album to them as well. We can't leave them empty-handed, even if things have changed, the lineups and everything.
That's correct, and we will be doing physical copies. In probably the end of November, we'll have physical CDs. People still want to buy CDs and vinyl. They don't all want to. I mean, we've had a lot of downloads, but they won't all want to do that. Some people like to have a CD. I mean, I've got a vinyl player and I absolutely love it. And I play all sorts of records on it.
I need to get one, actually.
I get that. I whenever there's a CD or a vinyl available, we always get them. Having said that, my vinyls, I normally get them signed and then they get put up on the wall, so I don't tend to play them so much. But the CDs, yeah, I gotta have something in my hand. Gotta have a hard copy, definitely.
That's not the right thing to say when you're sitting in a hot tub, Dave. I'm only hoping you're referring to a beer.
Of course.
I'll be ready, good man.
So you're all dressed up there, Kira. I mean, to be honest, I'm just wondering if you're a bit of a witch, because you've got
a lot of the stuff I'm getting is from probably a lot of people ask me where I get my clothes from.
Yeah.
I don't actually sponsor them, believe it or not. But I get a lot of my clothes from a place called Killstar.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of what I would call like a top shop for goths sort of thing.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very gothic then.
Yeah. So the neckwear is from them. Leggings I'm wearing from them. I actually got this rug from Hollywood actually, because I've been to Los Angeles a couple of times and I went to a place called Monster A Go-Go.
Okay.
I'm probably giving them free publicity doing this, but I actually don't endorse them in any way. I just like their clothing, and they do some really nice pieces, and that's why I wear what I like. So,
yeah. So is that
even the ring is from Killstar, but I like it. Well, when I'm doing an interview and that, I do like to look my best. Don't look like I want to just fall out of bed.
Or falling into an octave.
I have done interviews during the pandemic in my polar bear pajamas.
Yeah.
So I did see quite a while ago, you did a video with John Altman.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, John Altman.
The Christmas single. Yeah, that was quite a few years back now.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. And we did it in a place. It was a manor, and it was Bruce Dickinson's friend's manor house.
Okay.
It was Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah.
It was his friend's manor house. We recorded the video in.
Okay.
It was just like really bizarre. It was so crazy. And I met him years ago in Norway on a trip, because I was just doing some session work, playing guitar, and he was doing sort of seminars on the ship, and we hooked up. Me and him were the only ones that were teetotal.
Okay.
And that's why we connected, because me and him, everybody else was drunk around us in this crew bar, and me and him were just sober, and he looked at me and he went, "There's no one normal in this place. I need to." And he just went up to me and we started chatting, and we were friends ever since. And then he just said, "Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Do you want to do a Christmas single with me?" And we debanded, and I went, "Yeah, why not?" So we had a little performance. He came to a local charity festival called Ballstock Festival. My friend Julia Roche runs it, and he did a live performance with us. And then he said, "Do you want to do this Christmas single? The record label want to do this." And I said, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." And we had just so much fun. I mean, we got into we didn't get anywhere in the charts, but we got into the top 200 or whatever. We had good fun. We had really good fun. And he's a great guy, he's got so many rock and roll stories to tell. He's just like a book of rock and roll, and all the people that he's met over the years, like the Who, because he was in the film and he was in various films. He was in the Quadrophenia film. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, we actually spoke to him on the podcast.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah. We spoke to him ages ago, and we mentioned about this. I mean, I was just going to laugh then when you said that he couldn't find anybody normal to talk to.
Yeah, no, he couldn't. He said just like, there's all these drunk people around me and right now, and you're the only one sober, and he just couldn't, because they were dribbling and stuff, and then one eye.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to have a conversation with someone that
somebody who wasn't drunk.
A sentence. String a sentence. He's ever so funny.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Not necessarily normal, but not drunk.
Such a nice guy.
He came on with a teddy bear, didn't he? He was like,
yeah, he's
awesome fella.
He's definitely a character.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's a nice guy, actually.
He's a lovely guy, and he's actually not nasty. That's the thing.
No, I know.
He's actually a really nice guy.
And because when we spoke to him, and he was talking about, I don't know her name, Doc Cotton, and he said what a legend she is, and what a lovely woman she is, and he used to beat her up as Nasty Nick, didn't he?
Yeah. Brown,
it's crazy, that character.
Yeah, he said she's such a lovely woman. He said,
yeah,
nothing bigged her up, didn't he? Nothing but bigged her up. He had nothing to say about that.
Yeah, he was good, man. He's quite, like you say, he's quite a character, to be honest.
He is definitely a character.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, I sent you an email the other day, and I want to ask you what your 5 favorite songs are.
Yeah. Well, we've sent you about 10, I think.
Yeah, you didn't have to send them to me.
Too many.
No, I think we did.
I know you sent them to me, but you didn't have to send them to me, because we just like to get into it, and we just wanted to know what your favorite songs were and why, really. Not necessarily. They don't necessarily have to be in this genre. You know what I mean? But it's just like some. I mean, I've seen the lists, and they're not actually on this genre. So,
Kira, do you want to go first, or should I go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So, the songs that I picked. Well, I can't really, like with anything, like when people tell me, what's your favorite bands? I can't really pick a favorite, because there's so many bands that I really like. So I picked a couple of songs that I really do like.
Yeah.
That fit with the radio. So all of them are rock songs.
Okay.
So the first one I picked is Space Truckin' by Deep Purple. It's one of my favorite Deep Purple songs, because I like the lyric aspect of it. And I love the riff in Space Trucking. And AC/DC picked Girls Got Rhythm, because me being a bass player, I really, to me, it is like a sort of signature song, even though maybe the bass line is not as complex. I just really think it's one of my favorite AC/DC songs. Zombie by the Cranberries. Now, the reason why I picked that one is I think it's so universal with its meaning, especially with what's going on with Ukrainian war and everything. I think it's a very deep song. I also picked Cowboy Song by Thin Lizzy, because Thin Lizzy, a really great band, and I think it's a really good song. Nice and Sleazy is actually one of the first bass lines that I learned.
Okay.
Jean-Jacques Bonnel's bass line on this is great, especially the tone, because it just punches through really nicely. Barbara O'Reilly by The Who.
Well,
one of the best intros. I just love that intro of Barbara O'Reilly. Tom Sawyer by Rush. Obviously, because Geddy Lee is a brilliant, probably one of the best bass players of all time. But I think it's probably one of my favorite Rush songs. It was kind of like either Spirit of the Radio or Tom Sawyer, but I think I prefer Tom Sawyer.
You've stolen one of mine, Kira.
Really?
Yeah, the Spirit of the Radio is one of my my favorite proddy songs. Prod rock
and
song.
The very last one I picked is actually one probably people may have not thought of, is Flakes by Frank Zappa. Because me and my siblings, we actually grew up listening to Frank Zappa and Mothers of Invention. Got in my dad's vinyl collection, we've got a lot of Frank Zappa, and he's like the Mozart of rock. Doesn't just stick to one style of music. He's just so he's got a lot of sense of humor with his music, and I just thought Flakes is because I've been to California, and it's so true with Flakes.
Very good. You flew through them.
Yeah, that's a good list.
She's given me too many here. Well, I'm going quite retro actually. I'm going for maybe a few songs that were ahead of their time.
Okay.
At the time that they were released. Space Oddity by Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
I think is legendary as a song. It was way ahead of its time.
Well, wasn't that the song that broke
massive nod
really?
off my wife there.
Pardon?
He got a nod off his wife.
Got a nod off my wife.
But I said, wasn't that really the song that broke him? That broke Bowie? Didn't it break? Wasn't that his breakthrough song?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was.
He was just really bizarre for his time. He was just really. He was in a character. You know, I love that whole character thing.
Yeah.
Then I've got Mr. Blue Sky by ELO.
Okay, great song.
Because I just think again, for me, it's ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was definitely.
And it's one of those songs you listen to, and it could be played any year, any era, and it just, oh God, I never get bored of it.
Yeah, no, I don't either actually. But I can say that by quite a lot of ELO songs, because there's a lot of ELO songs that are just timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a timeless song.
Yeah.
And that just hits me. And the orchestral, the instrumentation at the end of the song, I mean, it's just, it gets me here. It's just incredible as a composition.
Yeah.
He actually, Jeff Lynne, when I was a boy, that is incredible as well. That's not one of my favourites, but it's not a very popular track. Like, I like some of it, but he really is quite underrated as a writer. I mean,
well, we spoke to Bevan.
Right.
And he just basically said Jeff Lynne's a genius. Like
he did, didn't he? Yeah.
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 He is a genius. Yeah, I would agree with that. I've seen him live. It's amazing. You know, when I saw him live, he pulled it off. His voice was just like when he was younger, and I was like, wow. I couldn't believe it. The other one I saw live was who was it? I saw live. Oh God, my brain's. It'll come back to me soon. Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Me, it's the guitar solo at the end. It's just, when I first heard that guitar solo, that made me fall in love with guitar. It was like lead guitar. It was like, wow. Yeah. I've never heard a guitar sing like a voice like it in a solo. I was just like, this is just unbelievable what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a big fan of Pink Floyd overall, and you know, because some people say, oh, well, you fall asleep to some of it, but actually that for me is probably the greatest one of the greatest guitar solos.
Okay.
What else? Trying to think. While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yeah, George Harrison
Again. I love the Beatles. I've always loved the Beatles since I was a kid, but some of the George Harrison tracks are just incredible. They just are, again, a bit underrated.
Yeah.
They weren't really pushed, but I think he's got a bigger fan base than ever now. I think he's not with us. But, the While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and if you see the live version of that with Prince, I don't know if you've seen it.
I was going to say, check out the Prince.
Again, it's like so they brought the song alive. It's like phenomenal. That version is just phenomenal. Any others? Let me think. I think I know it's a bit cliche, but I think Bohemian Rhapsody is an incredible.
I love that. That's a great song. Yeah.
Incredible song.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I never knew it was a B-side. It was quite in its time. It was rejected a lot.
It was too long because back then with the singles, that had to be like 3 minutes, and it was just epic.
And Kenny Everett played it, didn't he? Because he gave it the break. But our first album, we recorded at Rockfield Studios
Okay, yeah.
The Ride of Your Life album, and that's exactly where Queen recorded Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And it's a really old, like, it's a farm studio, do you know it? And it's got,
It's
I mean, it's still got the dust, dust on the walls, and that's, and it's got a real weird feeling about it, like there's ghosts in there, you know. You feel like when you walk in the studio, and they haven't changed it since the 70s.
Okay.
And you feel like there's the ghost of Freddie Mercury in there.
They've still got the piano there, haven't they? The piano that he wrote on, he's still got the piano there, hasn't he?
I played on that piano.
Did you really?
And it just I played on that piano when I was in the studio that he recorded on, and it literally gave me goosebumps up my arms when I was playing on it, because I was like, wow, he's actually played this. But I felt like something went through me, like a ghost. It was really weird.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? It's amazing you can get so much energy from buildings and objects.
Yeah.
So, but do any of you play chess?
Oh, well, I'm not saying I'm a man. I've tried, and
What's the chess set?
I think with my dad, because my dad was an avid chess player back in the day. We had a next door neighbor, and he would have nights where they would. I remember I was really young at the time. It was my bedtime, but I could hear that they would be playing my dad's vinyl records, and they would be playing chess. And my dad's, I mean, I would be beat straight away if he was playing chess. But I did have a little go at it at school and that. But I probably might pick it up maybe in later life, but it's always trying to think what's going to be the best move.
Yeah.
If you think, oh, that's going to be the great move, someone's going to outdo you.
Well, apparently, I mean, these chess masters just memorize every move that could be possibly done on the board, and then that's how they don't. I don't think it's more of a strategic thing, but it's more of a memory thing, I think. But there's a guy called Hans Niemann. Have you heard of him? He's a grandmaster. He's only 19 years old.
Yeah, it's usually like really young kids, the teenagers that are very like.
I've got a chess set.
Chess set.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's got like a marbly kind of.
Yeah.
We had a wooden chess set somewhere.
They're not made out of ivory, are they? They will get cancelled.
I did get them from another country, so
you don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me. We'll have the activists on it.
I don't know if we still have the last chess set that we had before I moved down here to Yorkshire, because we lived up in Scotland. Was a wooden chess set, and it looked really, really beautiful and elegant. Lovely cream and brown wooden finish to it. But yeah, last time I did a game of chess was actually with my sister's boyfriend while we were on the flight to a family holiday to Turkey. We were both opposite each other, and we thought we'd get a tiny mini version of chess. These little crap mini chess sets.
The magnetic
little plastic.
The
travel chess. Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember. I think I actually think I did a really good job. I don't know whether I beat him, but I think first time I actually was doing really well, because knowing if I tried to play with my dad, he would beat me fair and square. Okay. He's done it for years.
Well, I'm going to go back to Hans Niemann a minute anyway, because he was just playing in a big championship chess game. I was going to say a golf match then. I don't know why. A big chess game, and he was playing against the world grandmaster, who is Magnus Carlsen, and he beat him. And it's the first time that this Magnus guy has been beaten in 53 matches. Okay. And Hans Niemann was accused of cheating, and they reckon that the way he was cheating was he had anal beads inserted into his anus, and he was receiving Morse code from his coach.
And he was Morse code for what?
He was receiving Morse code from his coach. So they were programming these. Yeah, through the anal beads. So they were. they were vibrating in a certain way of which movie he had to make to beat this Grandmaster. And it's created quite a big stink in the chess world. No pun intended, yeah. And now they're actually thinking about making all these chess matches, these big chess matches, okay?
Yeah.
And they have to play in the nude, so they can't cheat.
Well, I tell you what, I'm looking at chess players in a different way. I didn't see him as promiscuous.
Well, that's obviously the youngsters coming through for you, you know.
Yeah, the new generation. It's about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I thought that was quite a strange story. I mean, it's only like in the last week.
Chess has become a more popular game now.
I think it'd be even more popular the way it's going.
Yeah.
Always seen as a game for buffing these.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Not anymore.
That was more of a game.
Summers now.
Yeah, that would be more of a Game of Thrones, I think. But yeah, that was quite a weird story that I saw. So I thought I would bring it up. And, so you mentioned when are you going to go out on the road then?
We already said we're not.
We're not.
Oh, you're not going out on the road?
We're not going out on the road promoting this actual album because it's a lockdown album, and we had other band members that.
Yeah, I understand that. Oh no, I still thought you were going to actually go out and tour it though.
No, we're not going to tour it. But you know, me and Kira might in the new year turn over a new leaf and go, do you know what? We might do this, but at the present, we just wanted to release it, see how everybody feels about it, get a feel for it. And so far so good. It's had so many plays and it's doing so well, and it's had great feedback and it's doing well.
Yeah.
Thanks to Plug-in Baby. Yeah.
But is that like I don't know, is it more of a legal thing or is it just because you've lost your other members? I mean, obviously your sister was in the band before. Yeah,
she was, but she had a baby. It's a toddler. And she's the toddler, Isla, she's a crazy girl. She's yeah, I mean, she needs full-time attention.
Yeah.
She's a bundle of
energy.
Life. Yeah, bundle of energy. I mean, I know you do get women that go on tour and have babies and stuff, but Isla's a different ball game. She's definitely going to be something when she's older, and it's I feel like it's sport though. I feel like she's a rugby player or something.
Well, do you think then maybe you go out on it under a different name or?
No, we would always keep the name because it's been going for years with different members. So we wouldn't go under a different name. We would just get other members to step on board, and so me and Kira.
The name itself has quite a lot of. I think the name itself has quite a lot of strength and power to it, because there's been people who may have never heard of Joanovarc at all and say, wow, that's a brilliant name. The name alone has the strength as well.
Yeah,
it has strength with it. We wouldn't change the name. It's that's part of our thing now. We've done 3 albums. So me and Kira just needed a break after the lockdown because we've been through a dramatic 2 years. We've gigs as individuals and gone out and played for different people. I mean, Kira's still doing lots of gigs. You know, I'm doing a session work for people, but we needed a mental break from, being in a girl group. It's not easy.
No, I can imagine.
Not easy. It's really not easy. And when 4 women are all hormonal and crazy and nuts, oh God, you don't want to be in that room.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough having men together, but
you do not want to be in a room with 4 women that are, it's hard work. It's hard work. And that's why, with the band, I see Joanovarc with longevity. It's a long-lasting thing, but a cycle of different female musicians. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
But there's the core foundation, like me and Kira are kind of like the core. and my sister still writes. My sister wrote 4 tracks on the album, actually,
Okay,
which
cool.
are featured on the album. She wrote, funny enough, Here I Go. She wrote Silver Sun. She wrote Flying Free with me. Songs that me and my sister have written, and they're all on. There's about 4 of them on the album. There's Kira's, the darker song, the Kira's.
Okay, that comes from my influence, obviously.
She's a goth.
I've grown up with a lot of goth music, and also, I mean, my music ranges from funk and soul all the way to bloody death metal. So there's a lot of kind of dark influence and subject matter that I do. And also, I am a big fan of horror films and crime documentaries. And I thought I might like to write a song just with a real struggle that women usually do, is just violence towards women. I've seen crime and it just seems like a very good way to write a song. But I don't do it in a very campy way, which I've listened to a lot of bands that do it, no disrespect to them, because I've listened to Misfits and everything, but there's this campy way of doing it, or in your face with the subject matter. But I like to go back to where it was silhouetted in a way where you don't blatantly be explicit with it.
Yeah.
Because it leaves it to the person's imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kira's on the dark side. I did write Invisible Enemy, which is quite dark actually, but that's more about being isolated and, things falling apart around you and the whole lockdown period of feeling trapped. Same as Isolation, the song Isolation on the album is about feeling trapped and you can't go out and you feel like there's 4 walls surrounding you, and that's how it felt for some people.
Okay.
So a lot of that, but Kira is the real dark side. She's the dark side, and I'm more of the light side. So you've merged them together, and actually it works.
Yeah,
so we work
cool.
musically really well together. My sister's also a great lyricist, and we work really well. And we just keep that foundation. And we could have new members next year. But me and Kira needed a mental break and a physical break, but mainly a mental break because we needed to just
chill.
It's easier being in a band with men, and I guarantee that.
Okay.
I'm telling you that now.
Okay.
Don't you agree, Kira? It's easier being in a band with men.
I'm saying nothing.
No comments.
All right, okay, maybe not.
It's hard work. It's been hard work for the last few years, but but either way, it's experience. Absolute experience with working with men and working with women.
Yeah. What's hard work being in a band anyway?
It's about working with great musicians.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's working. That's what me and Kira always wanted to do. We always want to work with great musicians, but musicians are emotional creatures. And then
they are. Yeah,
you don't know if you're going to get aggression, you don't know if you're going to get laughter or whatever, or love, or it could be anything. So you could work with someone, you could think, wow, you're the most incredible musician in the world, and then all of a sudden they have this outrage of anger, or they flip out, or musicians are emotional creatures, and me and Kira have worked with lots of musicians.
Jekyll and Hyde personalities.
Jekyll and Hyde, yeah. We've worked with all sorts of musicians. Some have Jekyll and Hyde personalities, some don't. And it's me and Kira can just say, I think we're normal, Kira. We're not completely normal.
I would say normal, but
me and Kira really can work together. We've got the right chemistry to work together. We just know each other well enough, and we just work. Me and my sister are the same. It's hard when you've got so many different personalities in a band.
Yeah. Well, will there be another album coming then?
Well, yeah. I mean, someone commented actually on our thing and said, I don't understand. You keep changing members left, right, and centre. I said, listen, have you ever looked at Fleetwood Mac's back catalogue?
Yeah.
Have a little look and see how many members actually played in that band, and you'd be really surprised. There were loads. I couldn't believe it. The list just kept going on, from Peter Green, and then it was like, oh my God. And then they laughed. They laughed at the comment. They went, I see what you're saying. I know what you mean. And I went,
for sure.
Like nobody, bands that do not have 100% original members. I mean, is there one? Which band?
Rolling Stones,
kind of think.
They're not original, are they?
The Rolling Stones, they must be all original.
No, they're not.
Nope.
No, they're not.
No.
One of them's dead. So you go.
Well, a few of them are dead, actually.
Yeah.
Keith Richards is undead.
Yeah, he's never.
Okay.
He'll never
So can we name a band that has the same original
I can
members?
tell you a band that's going out on tour with original members.
Okay.
The Damned.
Oh, wow.
Their new tour that they're doing is actually with the original 4 members.
Wow.
And that is very rare. I have actually seen the Damned original lineup years and years ago, but they've actually got the differences pushed to one side, and they're going to go out on tour. I think they might have already started, or they might have already done it. But
yeah, that is unique. That's very unique.
yeah. So, but I don't think there's many other bands out there.
With the original members, I mean, I think I can only think of 2. Well, ZZ Top was probably until Dusty Hill died.
Yeah.
ZZ Top, and I think Rammstein as well. I know that's been the same people. But yeah, there's usually maybe one person that's gone, or they've got.
And then sometimes a band member dies. I mean, look at the Foo Fighters.
Oh, that was absolutely tragic. That. That was actually a shock to me.
Well, I think it was a shock to most people, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, because they were in the middle of a tour as well, weren't they? So. But have any of you seen Squid Games?
I have.
No, I've heard about it.
To be honest, I mean, it was all right. I mean, the concept of it was quite interesting. And I mean, I watch, I mean, when I have any time to spare, I do watch quite a bit of Netflix. And I've been watching quite a lot of the stuff that's come from Asia, and I watched quite a bit of anime as well. And some of the, and I've been looking at some of the South Korean films and series. And Squid Game was like something that people said, you've got to check this out. And I've been, okay. And I mean, some of it I did look good, but I have to be honest, I didn't really think much of the ending or anything. It was a bit.
Yeah, the ending was. I thought the ending was quite predictable, actually, but because you know you met that old guy, and
then everyone getting killed off one by one. I mean.
Yeah, but even with the old guy, we already guessed that the old guy at the beginning was the actual boss. You know, they even faked his death halfway. Oh yeah, sorry. But what I was going to say was, how many people do you think have been killed by a giant squid?
Oh, is that what people thought it was going to be? No.
I don't know.
It's kind of like a cross between Takeshi's Castle and, well, I was going to say Takeshi's Castle and Saw, but Saw is more gory. So.
Yeah.
But,
I think Shelley's Googling it, actually.
They were just over.
Yeah, just checking it out. But,
just too much.
Other series people have said to check out Stranger Things. That Stranger Things is supposed to be really good, and I've got to be brutally honest, I have actually never seen it yet. But
yeah, I got bored of that.
Yeah, I got fed up with that the last season.
Yeah, my missus loved it. She absolutely binged it over like a week, all 4 seasons. But I got bored of it quite quickly. I got to be honest. It's a bit like Twilight. It was too kiddie. Yeah, too young for me to enjoy, really. I wanted it to be a bit darker.
Go watch What We Do in the Shadows. That's a proper vampire series. I bloody love it. It's like Trailer Park Boys crossed with Interview with the Vampire.
I've seen the film, because the film's a New Zealand release, isn't it? So I've seen the original film. That was quite a good laugh.
I really enjoyed it. I just finished watching the last series of it. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Give that a go.
Shadows.
All right. Well, anyway, how many people do you think have been killed by a giant squid?
Captain Nemo didn't.
There's only actually one report, I think. One real report.
Oh.
And that was of a 12-week-old boy got nabbed off the coast of Norway. Now, what a 12-week-old boy was doing by the coast, I don't have a clue. But apparently a giant squid came and took him away. Squid Games.
I don't go in the sea very often.
Yeah, you're making me not want to go in the sea.
Unless it's the Med. Although I really enjoyed Israel though, because I got to see dolphins for the
Yes, we did. We did perform in Israel together.
Oh, did you?
Cool.
Yeah, me and Kira played in Israel for a whole month together. It was like a session gig,
Okay.
corporate kind of thing, tourist thing. But you know, we knocked out a lot of cover numbers, and yeah, it was just swelteringly hot. Now people at home were saying there's a heat wave. It's 35, 40 degrees, and we were like, yeah, there's a heat wave. It's 50.
Oh, that's hot.
We were like, this is a heat. No, but we have the aircon, so I guess we cheat it a little bit. But it was a real heat wave. It
is 50 degrees.
We went in the desert. We went to Tinner Park, which is a desert, didn't we, Kira, with all the schools?
Yeah, we did. It's really incredible, some of the sites that we saw. It looked very alien. It looked like something you get out of a Star Wars film or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it would make a really good spot to film stuff, but it's also quite a sacred desert as well.
It's very sacred.
Oh, right, okay.
Where we
were bordering Egypt as well.
Yeah, and Jordan. So it's right. Elat is right at the bottom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They'd probably chop your head off if you took a film crew.
Do you know what? They would.
Probably would, yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So...
We laugh, but I wouldn't do it.
No.
And I definitely wouldn't.
And when my friend Josh was telling me, he's from Israel, he said when they said lockdown, they meant lockdown. They meant you are staying in and you're not leaving your house. And they had to have this note once every 2 weeks or once a week. They could go to the supermarket as long as they had this like note to prove that they're okay to go. You know, it wasn't like us lot where you could go, I don't know, skateboarding down the road or.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they were really extreme with the vaccination process as well, weren't they?
Israel? Oh, they were.
Yeah, they were one of the first countries that managed to get. But it's also a small country as well. You've got to remember that. So they were able to get it done quite quickly. But also because you have people that are not quite sure if they want to take it, the process is much longer.
Yeah.
I've had about 5 because I've got a weak immunity system, so I had to take more than 2 vaccines.
Okay.
Yeah. And no, I haven't taken up half of the street with the magnets.
I was going to say the spoons will be sticking to you.
I would have probably been covered in metal by now.
But how did the vaccination affect you? Did it affect you at all?
No, it's like the flu jab, just a little bit of an achy arm and fine.
Oh, really?
One day. Yeah, no issues. I know Shelley felt a little bit sick when she had her first, you had the Moderna vaccine, didn't you?
Yeah, I felt pukey with that one. Wasn't nice. I
had Moderna as well. I felt really ill for a few days.
That's it. The Modernas make you sick. Yeah.
But apparently,
I've had Moderna before, and I think that was the last vaccine because they mixed it up, the vaccines, because the first one I had was Pfizer, and I had Moderna, and again it was just an achy arm.
Are you sure your immune system is really bad?
I know, right? but I grew up in the countryside as well, so the rolling in dirt and everything you find.
Yeah, eating worms all your life.
Yeah,
probably good for you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Get electrocuted by a fence and all sorts.
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that story about that boy who ate that slug?
No.
It's not a joke now. This is a proper story. He's an Australian football player, and he was only like 18 or 19, and he was out with all his mates on the beer on the weekend, and they all dared him. They were all doing these dares, and they dared him to eat this slug. So he ate a slug, and it was carrying something like a rat worm or something, and it got into his nervous system and into his brain, and then he became a paraplegic.
No way.
His whole life got ruined by eating a slug.
That is horrible.
So
that's Australia. Be very careful with whatever's moving.
Yeah, but don't eat any slugs.
Well,
Don't go
everything
anywhere
else
near
really
any
is quite
spiders.
scary.
Don't.
If it was the end of the world and I had to survive, I'll be dead. You know, it's the end of the world, everything's been blown up and World War III, and there's a few survivors and I happen to be one of them. And I had to find something to eat. That's it. I'd lose so much weight.
Yeah, I'm not beginning any slugs anytime soon,
No.
that's for sure.
I'd be screwed, I really would.
Everyone's accidentally eating a fly as well because they're just.
Yeah, and spiders.
But you don't want to watch The Fly, the 80s film. Have you ever seen that? That is
Yeah.
Seen that with Jeff Goldblum.
God.
It's a great film, but my God,
I actually felt, when I watched that film, I actually felt physically sick, like I was going to throw up at the end.
It
really made me feel ill.
It's a really fun fact for you. I read Mel Brooks' autobiography, and it's actually a Brooks film.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he produced the film, Mel Brooks, and we know him of doing like Blazing Saddles and Histories of the World, and he wanted to do Brooks films because he wanted to do more serious films, and David Cronenberg, and also The Elephant Man as well was, I think, another one is. Yeah, I didn't know he produced that one as well.
No, I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah. So it's quite an interesting fact for you. So
I wouldn't watch it.
Serious.
I would not watch it again. I wouldn't watch it.
Oh, it's awesome.
I only watch it once.
And the one where they have a plane crash and they have to eat each other, you know that one as well. What's that?
Alive.
I wouldn't watch that again either.
Tell you one film you should never
Alive.
ever watch. Once is enough, and that Serbian film. That was that was a horrendous film. God.
I haven't seen
I
that.
thought to myself, why would you make something like that? Like, what are you trying to prove? Horrible. Just Google it and you'll see what I mean.
No, I'm not going to Google it.
No, don't. Please don't.
No, I don't want to.
I think the last movie I sort of watched like that was about this media influencer guy, and they took him to Russia or somewhere, or Poland or whatever, and they were playing like this escape rooms game. And the people that were with him, they all pretended it was real. So he went into this escape rooms thing with his friend and his girlfriend and everything, and they all got killed off one by one. But they got killed off he was thinking that everything was real. So when he actually got out at the end, he killed the guy that organized everything, and all the people that were there were filming it on their phones because he was this really top social media guy. And they were like, stop, what are you doing? And he was like really punching this guy's face in, and they ended up killing him. I can't remember what movie it was called now. But yeah, that was a strange movie as well.
Yeah, I think I'd give those ones a miss.
Yeah.
You're quite squeamish, Shelley.
I am, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I'm awful. I'm sorry, I'm the opposite to Kira.
Yeah.
I'm like a teddy bear and she's like,
Probably the latest thing I've done, which probably would make her quite squeamish, is I went to the H.R. Geiger Museum, the guy who did the Alien from Alien. Some of his art is incredible, but it's very grotesque in the way the imagery. But I really enjoyed it because I'm familiar with H.R. Geiger's work. But it's I had to be very careful with some of the pictures that are put up because some of them probably may not be allowed on Instagram, may not be allowed on Facebook because they're standards, because anything with boobs they'll just remove.
I don't know, Madonna's still on there.
And Tommy Lee.
Oh, don't mention Tommy Lee, please. Enough's enough.
Yeah. All right then, girls. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really
thank
great.
you for putting up with David in his hot tub. Hot tub
He's
time
having
machine.
a blast.
I've
I wish I was
actually-
doing
I've actually
wish I
got
was in
a-
a hot tub.
Sarah is my lighting manager. She's got a phone with the
The
torch on
on.
the phone. Yeah,
Yeah. She's your walking lighting rig.
that's right. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, we'll wrap it up then.
All right.
So thanks for joining us, and
Yeah, pleasure.
good luck for the future with whatever you decide to do.
Yeah, and
and
hopefully we'll
tell
see
the
you on
fans-
stage.
tell the listeners and fans out there that they can download the digital album.
Yeah.
On Apple, come on, Kira, Spotify,
iTunes,
That's it,
Amazon, Bandcamp.
Yes.
Bandcamp.
Basically on the internet, and we will have a physical CD which they can purchase off of our. You can go onto our Facebook the end of November, and it will have all the links for the physical CD as well.
All right, very good. Okay.
And we'll let you know if we're touring. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. You'll have to tell me twice.
I
All right, cheers.
All right, thank you very much.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.